All right, welcome back everyone to the Rally Report. Going to keep today's rundown short and on one topic as everyone seems to be still chit-chatting about it. There's been a lot of chatter on the Rumorville right now in regards to Diego Elias and his conduct at the TOC. And I've given my opinion on what I thought of that specific final incident against Farag on last week's rundown, so I won't repeat it. But it's clear that something is brewing behind the scenes of a potential ban or a hefty fine that's coming his way. So not sure what exactly PS are going to do with this situation, because it seems to me he's slowly becoming the poster boy on for them to make an example out of for those going against the PSA directive. Don't get me wrong, though. I stand by what had happened and that I think he was in the wrong there. I do know that he's missed out on the Motor City Open earlier this month on a quote-unquote injury, but played in Pittsburgh earlier this week. Looked fine to me. But had a very odd semifinal with Yusuf Ibrahim. Not to take any credit away from Yusuf because he played immaculate squash, but Diego seemed kind of checked out of it. Who knows? Maybe he was notified about this potential ban the night before. You never know what he's going through, and it wouldn't be the first time PSA notifies players during an event and let them know unfortunate news like this. And I'm referring back to the Shorbaghi situation and his Facebook video response back in 2020. All this to say, I do think there's a bigger issue here, and it's completely beyond Diego Elias and whatever punishment they have in store for him. Because if you even remotely follow squash at this point, you know Diego's conduct during that match or any match in general, or his relationship with the referee is nothing to be shocked about. The TOC incident was not surprising to me at all. I think the bigger issue here is the complete disconnect between how the players view how the game should be played and handled versus how PSA want it to be played and handled. Obviously, it's been trialed by the PSA with the additions of new directives and changes over the past year or two. So I'm not trying to discredit them here because come on, at least they're trying and they've been attempting to make changes. But I am getting the impression that these directives are not a collaborative effort between the players and PSA. I'm not sure who represents the player committee or if it's just the two players on the board who I believe are Gosel and Sarah Jane Perry. But I do think it's imperative that they have representation amongst the players to have a chat to make this better, because it's getting silly and out of hand. Every event, there's incidents everywhere. Players are getting more aggravated by the directives and the referees, the refs being put in ruthless positions. It just looks so bad as a product and as a sport. But anyway, enough about me being dramatic about all this, and on to today's interview with Dimitri Steinmann, where we kind of dive into it as well. All right, we got first timer on the pod, probably one of the most explosive players in our sport right now, and also probably the quickest turnaround time of scheduling in a guest. So shout out to him. Welcome, Dimitri Steinmann. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure.
That was crazy turnaround time. I remember I DM'd you, I think, like a day or two ago, and you're like, I could do it right now.
I'll get things sorted out quickly. I like to get stuff done. So,
but yeah, just saw your Instagram. It seems like you're moving some heavy weights out there. What's been happening? Are you just recovering from Pittsburgh Open right now? What's been on your schedule?
Yeah, well, I had a day off yesterday, so so I was able to push some weight this morning, and I'm going to play a practice match in the afternoon. So I would say I'm fully recovered and already charging up the batteries for the next one.
Let's go. It's good to hear. Are you onto your next event for tournament scheduling, or
yeah? So I'm going to Calgary tomorrow. I'll be there a bit before the tournament. Actually, I'll be there like a week before. Yeah, but I'll get some training in there. It's in altitude and get used to the conditions, and spend some time there.
Nice. A little North America tour going on here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you fine with? How do you deal with jet lag? Are you someone that's fine with it? I mean, I'm sure you've done this for.
It depends. Like anything, like from up to 6 hours, 7 hours is fine. But once you go like 9 hours or like up to 12, like that's where it starts to get a bit tricky, actually, for me personally. So, and then it's a bit of a roulette, really, to be honest. Like it's either you're fine or you don't sleep for a week. So it's a bit of a struggle sometimes. But yeah, I mean, you got to get used to it. It's part of the job, and it's just part. Everyone's dealing with it at some stage. So it's the same for everyone.
Well, kind of want to jump right into it, to the juicy questions, Dimitri. I know we had the Pittsburgh Open, great match against Yusuf Solman. and not to start this podcast off in a juicy note, but it seemed like there was an altercation not an altercation, that's a little aggressive of a word, but there was, I thought it seemed like you were chatting with the ref towards the end of after the match had ended. And I was curious, as the stream couldn't catch it, what had transpired after the match. It seemed like both of you were not happy with some of the referee decisions throughout the match.
Well, it wasn't heated at all. So it was,
Yeah.
I actually, there was a lot of people besides me, and that was important to me. So everyone can see that I'm calm, even though I just lost the match after 80 minutes. I was just asking a question politely, some questions, which to me, like such a match, if it's 7-all in the fifth and then all points are decided by decisions,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a like it spoils the match itself a bit, and I just wanted to understand the point of view from the referee, and that was it really. It was nothing like aggressive or malicious or any sort of that. I just wanted to know like how she saw it, and I don't really agree with how the reffing is at the moment. It's in my opinion, the ref has way too much power, and decides the match outcome in the end. To me, it's a two-player sport. Like it's 1 versus 1, and it shouldn't be the ref who is intervening and deciding the outcome, basically. As far as I was able to understand, they don't see it that way. They think they have to take those decisions because players play the way they want to play. But I mean, it's 7-all in the fifth. You know, you want to win the match. Like it's gonna be more intense than the entirety of the match. So that's just how it is. That's the nature of the game. And trying to take that away with making pretty hard calls, in my opinion, is I think a bit counterproductive and anticlimactic in the end. So it's just my opinion, and I think I'm entitled to also ask questions. I ask questions to the match referee after the match, and that's what I did. Nothing. What do you say? Yeah, nothing too
nothing
juicy.
evil there. Nothing too juicy.
No, meltdown.
It's been a year. It's been a year and a half now since. I mean, as a fan perspective, we've seen the refs be a lot more harsh on players. You really can't talk back. It's been like that for a while now. Is it a little bit of that you're disagreeing as well, or is there something more that maybe the spectators aren't understanding in the game? It seems a lot more decisions are happening, or is it more so like also the element of like you want video review implemented in?
I'm not a big fan of the video review because because actually what happens is if you're the referee and you're making a call, whatever the call is, and and the player goes to the video review, and the call changes, the players won't take the ref seriously from that point anymore because obviously he's got proven wrong, right? So you actually take authority away from the referee, which they're so keen on pushing that the ref has a lot of authority, but they're taking it away with their own system. So it's a bit contradicting in a way. So I'm not a big fan of video review, actually.
Okay, never thought about it that way. They lose credibility.
Yeah. So, and for decisions, I mean, I know for a fact they want to give less let calls. They want to have more decisions where like a no let or a stroke, which is a point on the board, which I also disagree with because the let is just a part of the game as a no let or a stroke. And I understand that you had matches 10 years ago where you had 100 decisions. And now, if you don't give lets, you might have less decisions, but the whole match is decided by the referee. Like, you know, if you have some matchups, there is going to be they're just issues. You know, if you have two guys who are 6'4" and like there is going to be traffic issues. It's just the nature of the sport. So it's not gonna, and you're gonna say, yeah, no let stroke is going to frustrate them even more because there's nothing they can do about their size, really. So, y- you just give a let and let them deal
Yeah.
with it themselves. So I don't know what the incentive is to just finish the game basically as a referee, which they're doing at times at the moment.
Oh, we've
And
seen a lot of that lately. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So and I don't agree with the no talking. As soon as it's dissent, obviously you can't do that. But
Mm.
uh, the sport is supposed to be entertaining, and you're taking out emotions, and as soon as you take out emotions, it's not entertaining anymore. People want to see something happen.
Yeah.
And like I mean, someone this tournament got a contact stroke for shouting "Come on" when he won a match. Like I mean,
That's
to
crazy.
that's just to me, that's just a bit,
Joke.
that's just going too far. So it's,
Yeah. No, I've, I've
I
I've
mean,
definitely
come on,
noticed.
like,
I've definitely noticed with you personally. I think the way you talk to the ref has changed drastically. You do the very calm tone. I don't know
yeah,
if
you
you
have
have to do
to,
that now.
you have to. Yeah, no, I mean, and it's hard, if your heart rate's 200, and that's what they sometimes don't understand. Like, you're, I'm not like trying to shout at
Mm.
you. It's just like I am in a fight or flight situation. So I by nature am gonna be loud. So it's not, and then they want a formal like, I'm sorry, dear Mr. Ref, can you please, like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah. No, I
yeah.
got you. Well, not to harp on them too much, but I'll kind of move on. But just on your season, how would you rate your season so far? How's it been? Career year? Or is it,
Been
yeah.
going pretty well. I finally like got my body fully healthy in November, I'd say.
Mm.
I had a lot of ongoing niggles a bit, but I got those all sorted out, and my form really started to take off in Hong Kong, and been building on that ever since. So I'm playing some pretty good squash at the moment, and I'm happy to see where it goes.
Do you think you're playing the best squash of your career right now, or
Yeah, so far for
yeah,
sure. Yeah,
yeah,
but I see there's lots of improvement still, and
hmm
I just, yeah, it's about understanding the game really. So but yeah, I'm
yeah?
I'm confident that they'll keep improving.
I mean, some great results, some tough results lately. I think with some brilliant matches with very top players. I was going to ask how quickly do you move on from matches like that when it ends
Five
in the
minutes.
5 minutes? Wow,
Yeah.
pretty
There's no
quick.
point. I mean, you can be down on yourself, but as soon as it's in the past, there's nothing you can do about it. You can be sorry for yourself, you can be down, whatever, but there's just nothing you can do about it. It's just, yeah. Do I like losing two matches after having three match balls? No, of course not. Pisses me the hell off. But there's nothing I can,
Fair
I,
enough. Yeah.
you can just look at the positives, and yeah, I took them both to five, had five match balls against them.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe I lack some experience maybe against the top guys, how to capitalize on the last point, and that's it. So
Mhm.
there's no, yeah, but I think that comes with age as well. Like when I was younger,
Yeah.
I used to like really be down on myself.
Mhm.
Well, now I'll just see it as another brick in the wall, and yeah,
Yeah.
long term, I'll just, yeah, and grow.
Yeah. I mean, pretty mature. I've definitely struggled in that past, so
Yeah.
definitely more mature than I am. I was going to ask, strategizing with tournaments. I think you're in a sweet spot where you really can play any tournament you want, right? You can play the platinums with your ranking right now.
Yeah.
You can play any tournament. How do you go about strategizing which tournaments you want to play? Or are you more of like anything that comes in the schedule you like to play? Or is there strategy
Mm,
behind it?
no, I'll just play tournaments I like. So if I don't like playing a tournament, I don't play it. So it's pretty simple. So and I don't calculate points and all that stuff. I don't play for ranking points. I play to be the
Mm,
best player I can be, to beat the top players. So I'm not gonna, I don't know, play another tournament just because it's good for my ranking. So in 10 years, if you ask someone, who was number 17 in the second week of February 2025, like, who's going to remember if it was 17, 19 or whatever? So, yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with the week by week changes in rankings.
exactly. So it doesn't really what does it even mean? It means something to you personally, but otherwise than that, like,
Yeah.
yeah, there is no, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't operate like that.
Well, I was going to ask, so long question here. So, not to toot your own horn, but I think candidly speaking, I personally find it very, very rare to see players move up the rankings on a year by year basis, unless they're making a drastic jump from a young age, as we're seeing with like Zachariah and Jonah Bryant right now.
Mm.
And feel free to disagree with me on this point, but I think you've been making that jump on a year by year basis, moving up the rankings. Now you broke into the top 20. And I was curious, like, what do you think you may do differently, allowing you to make those jumps and improvements that maybe other players aren't making?
Mm, that's a good question. Um, so what I think, what I what I can say for sure is that I was
Hmm.
always gifted athletically. So I was always a really good athlete. No matter my rank or my ranking, I was always a really good athlete. So, um, I'm and that enabled me to first of all, yeah, train what I needed to do on a very like high volume, so I can maybe, I don't know, learn things a bit quicker just because my body's able to sustain more load, maybe, which allows me to just pick up things maybe a bit quicker. I think so. And also, um, that's only possible if you surround yourself with the right people. And I've been very fortunate to um, have the right people in my corner at various stages of my career, um, and who are giving me great advice. So yeah, and I'm always trying to improve. Maybe that's why I also keep improving. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't to go and say it's just because of that one reason would be wrong, because there is not
Yeah.
just one reason. I think it's more just, yeah, the day-to-day basis, just trying to be better.
Mm.
I think that's the main thing, if you want to call it that. I don't know if, yeah, like, I can't say it's just because of my backhand long line or backhand drive or whatever, like, it's not that. So I can't say,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it was a tough question to ask you
yeah,
personally.
no,
It's
no,
definitely
it's
a quick.
fine. It's fine. No, I just don't know how to answer it with one definitive answer. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean, it definitely does help to have two Olympic parents with backgrounds. Those genetics,
yeah.
I'm sure, are elite.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say at the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good with sports. So I
Hmm.
did a lot of sports when I was a kid. So I adapted different movement patterns. So maybe that's why I can pick up things a bit quicker when it comes to changing your technique or swing or understanding of the game or how you want to play it. Um, Fact of the matter is, I really do not know. So I just trust the process and try and be better. Maybe it's probably, yeah. Most of it is just being hungry and trying to be better. I think,
Hmm.
or I personally believe in. Yeah.
Yeah, I genuinely find that so fascinating. I feel like we rarely see it. We saw it with Paul Cole, who had rose up the rankings
Yeah.
from like 2015, 2019. It's so rare to see people move up, if
What?
unless they make the jump very quickly. So find it fascinating.
But also Paul is an interesting one, because Paul as well, he's an outstanding athlete. Like,
Yeah.
if you look at him also when he was outside the top 20, I would say he was still an unbelievable athlete. So
Hmm.
he really just needed to know how to play squash. In my opinion, that's what happened, and he was, yeah, hats off to him. He did that brilliantly. He got to world number one, won two British Opens. So yeah, that's but I think you need to have something, or you need to have something to be able to do those jumps. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the bottom line. Because if you don't, if there's not, let's say, not an it fact like an X factor, but like if there's not something where you can say that's I'm one of the very best at something,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough to get all the other factors up to that level if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
anything. But again, I can be wrong. I'm sure there's been someone who's able to move up where nobody would have expected it. So it's yeah, it's hunger and
Yeah, we're
determination.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. We're also messing with the unknown factors. Yeah, yeah. How far do you think you are? I mean, this is also a tough question. How far off do you think you are from the top 10 level? Do you think there's a substantial difference in level right now when you play against these guys, or do you feel that it's
No,
really
I
minor
don't think
details?
so. I don't
No.
think so. No, no.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I think is that the top four really are they stand out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then obviously the whole rest, I would say, right up to like from 5 to maybe 20, 25.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they on their day, which is maybe 2 or 3 times a year, they can beat anyone or can take the top four to the very end. Beating is, which I know now from my own experience, is a lot harder than just taking them to five.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think it comes down to consistency. So everyone, it's easy to play on your day. It's easy to play well. So, but it comes down if when you're a bit sick or you had a tough match the night before and you need to reproduce a good performance. That's why the ranking is the ranking, really, because
Mm-hmm.
that's how some people deal better with it, some people don't, and yeah, that's why the very top guys are at the top, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like when you're on court with the top four, is there a clear cut level difference that you feel when you're playing with them?
Mm, it depends. It depends. It's a weird one because you feel like you're close, but yet so far. Like
Mm-hmm.
it feels like, oh, I'm in the rally, but again, then you're not in control of the rally. Like you're reacting all the time. And once you've figured out a pattern, they come up with a new pattern and it's all over. Like you have to start all over again. And it's always a catch up. So it might be, I don't know, 3-all in the first game, and you feel, oh, okay, I'm in this, and all of a sudden, boom, it's 7-4. And you've not necessarily done anything wrong, but it's just like
Right.
they're just a step ahead or 2 steps ahead. Um, and that's what makes it really difficult, in my opinion, to figure it out because they just think at a faster pace. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or play it. Yeah, it's just I think that's they adapt so quickly when they see, oh, okay, this guy today is good at a fast pace. They switch immediately to a different game style, and yeah, they take you apart in it. So that's the big challenge, to be able to recognize what's happening on court within 1 point, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
adapt. So it is chess in the end. So
Yeah, that's so
there's
neat.
always
That's
this
so neat to yeah.
comparison, the physical chess, right? So it is really so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's so cool to get your nugget on that and your insight. One side question I was going to ask is there a player that's impressed you the most this season?
Mm, good question. I mean, there's been a lot of great performances. Um, it's tough to say one player because it always needs two to have a good match.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, I rather pick like outstanding like matches, and for sure,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
um, the one with Mohamed El Shabagi and Ali Fark just recently at TOC, that was a great one, and Ali Farag and Diego Elias in Paris,
So
that was unbelievable. Like just the way they played squash was, for me, that were until now those were the moments of the season. So to be one player, Um, I mean, yeah, it's tough because yeah, I everyone is impressive in their own way,
Yeah,
you know. So it's tough to
right on.
say, you know. And you do like it's not like Ali Farag last season who just won all the tournaments, where you
Wasn't
can't like there's
impressive.
no point of like saying this or that. It's just the guy won everything, you know. But now it's a bit more spread out, and I think it's a really healthy tour at the very
No, it's
top.
good for
It's
the
a good
game.
good
Yeah.
rivalries, and so yeah, um, I mean, yeah, Zachariah and Jonah Bryant both.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say surprised because they showed that they're gonna be great sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I in fact lost to Zachariah 3-love in Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, no, I mean those two are impressive. I mean they're both, I mean 17 and 19 respectively. It's for for the age they have, the
It's
maturity they
ridiculous.
display is insane. So I'll go with those two. They
Mm-hmm.
impressed me the most. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, about that match with Zachary. Do you feel a different type of pressure when you're playing someone who's up and coming in the rankings who are like so young? Do you feel that, or do you kind of treat it as like every match is at every match?
No, no, I do
And
not. No, I wouldn't say that.
yeah.
No, I just try to look at it like, he was the better player that day for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just uh, all this thing about where you say it's impressive what he does at an age that all matters when you're not on court.
Mm-hmm.
Like as soon as you're on court, you kind of have to blend
Everything.
out that the guy is still a kid, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, he's I wouldn't say a different pressure. No, I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like there's a different pressure just because someone's young, you know. So
I see. I was just thinking about myself. If I was on court with a 17-year-old, I'd be freaking out. But
no, I don't.
I guess it's a me problem. But
No,
is there any is there anything that threw you off during your match with Zachariah that you weren't expecting, or you had a game plan in mind?
mm, I mean, no, threw me off. I mean, no, he's probably the hungriest player I've ever played. Like he wants to win so badly, which I
Mm-hmm.
understand. At 17, all you want to do is get up the ranking and win, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
um I wouldn't say that threw me off, but it impressed me during when I was playing. Like I said, oh, okay, like you know, so but he was the better player throughout the whole match, so it was not really a contest that much. Which yeah, for numerous reasons, but you know, hats off to him. He beat me fair and square, and that's it.
Yeah. On to the next. I was gonna ask about your coaching situation. I find it pretty cool that you're not one to, maybe I'm incorrect by saying this, but you do move around from coach to coach. I think I've seen through my research you were with Rob Owen. I think you're with Rosner right now. I also saw you hit some balls with Johnny Williams. Is currently your coach Rosner, if I have that
Yeah.
correct?
My main
He's
like
your main coach.
my main coach is Simon.
Mm,
Yeah. Um. And but I mean I'll when I have a normal training week, I'm 3 days in Zurich and days at his place in Germany.
mm,
So, but because there's no one really in Switzerland on a constant basis to hit with, I just hit with people who are there. That's why I sometimes train with Johnny or Davide Bianchetti as well.
mm,
Um, but it's always like um, according to time and my plan, basically.
right.
Um, yeah, that's what I would say.
How do you go about cultivating relationships with coaches as a professional player? Like, do you just reach out to them, like whether it be Rob Owen or Rosner? Do you just reach out to them and be like, "Hey, I'd like to work with you"? Is that a possibility? Like, how do you go about that?
So, I
Um,
mean, Simon knows me since I'm 13 years old, so it was not really
that helps.
that much of a reaching out, really. So it was
uh,
just I was in a bit of a tangle situation 2 years ago, and yeah, and he was there for me and took me under his wing, so to speak. Um, and I'm very happy he did because it really propelled my game forward. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Do you mind me asking why you left the Rob Owen camp?
Mm, there's a number of reasons. Some are very personal, so I don't
Okay.
really need to go into detail
Hmm.
because I mean, nothing really, yeah, for the public to discuss really.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just wanted to be closer to home. Also again for
Hmm.
private reasons. Yeah, so that was those two like factors I'd say, which because I was on the road basically all the time, and with my coaching situation right now, I'm at least like I'm only a 2.5 hour drive away from home, even when I'm in Germany.
Hmm.
So I can go home anytime I want, and like if it's in the UK, like it's not that easy. So
Fair. Yeah.
yeah,
It's pretty far. I mean, 2.5 hours is still pretty far, objectively
yeah, no,
speaking.
no, but I'm saying if I decide one night, like I want
Yeah.
to go home, like I can, in
Yeah.
theory. So
Hmm.
yeah.
How has that relationship with Rosner been like since you've been doing the player coach relationship? Like, what has he unlocked for you? Is there a different perspective he brings to the table that you could share without sharing too much?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, the most important thing, which I think is that it's just a very good friendship that
Hmm.
we have together. And Simon is just such a very down to earth guy, which certainly helped me a lot as well.
Hmm.
Just putting things into perspective. And about staying humble and all these kind of things, in which he's just such a great role model for anyone. And I've just been very lucky that he was that he's sharing that his wisdom, so to speak, with me about those things. Talking squash, it's definitely I think evident that I play more four corner squash and just retrieving and playing to the back, which yeah, it's more fun to play as well, if I'm quite honest, like so you feel like you can control the game, and yeah, that's
Hmm.
that I think those two things are very crucial, very crucial.
That's awesome. Last, I was going to ask. I don't usually ask about like background and stuff. We talk about what's happening in squash, but I do find it interesting that you had two Olympic parents, and I'm sure you get to ask this all the
Mm.
time. But are there different pressures having such elite athletes in the household as you're growing up with the sport? And also, I was curious why you picked squash, given that your parents don't come from a squash, or maybe they do come from a squash background, but
No, they don't. No, so I
mm,
mean, as I mentioned earlier, I did a lot of sports when I was a kid.
mm,
Um, Matter of fact, that squash was probably my worst one, out of all of them. Uh, and but I always liked it. I started when I was 4 and played once a week till I was 12.
mm.
Um, and I always like I liked the game itself. I just liked it, and um, yeah, it was a tough decision. I mean, I got selected onto the junior national team at 12, and I thought, like, oh, I'm really good at this. I might as well
Mm.
stick with that. Because I didn't really understand the concept of that. Nobody really plays. A lot of kids play squash, and it's kind of like a bit easier than in tennis or in
Yeah, yeah.
soccer. So, um, I said, okay, I'll stick with that. And yeah, obviously at that time the bubble burst a little bit because I always wanted to go to the Olympics, no matter which sport. So that was a bit of a yeah, that was probably the hard part. But I'm yeah very happy that I um yeah have a chance of going in 2028
Yeah,
with
now
the
it's in it. Yeah.
squash.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, speaking of, I wanted to ask about squash in Switzerland. I think it's fair to say it's the golden age of squash in Switzerland. Speaking of results with world teams
Yeah.
in Euros, you, Mueller, Nicky Mueller, Yannick leading the charge. Have you noticed a change in attraction in the sport in Switzerland with you guys? As it's not the usual powerhouse of like England, France, and Egypt. I know curious if Olympic announcement has given you guys better funding, maybe.
It's going. Um, I mean, as a sport in general, I'm I noticed that there's changes which are happening. They're just
Hmm.
happening a bit slow, in my opinion. But maybe that's just because I'm not patient or like, so, um, that's, for sure there is growth. Also like a lot of like leisure players, which I don't like. I just see a lot of players, who play. They don't have a license or anything. They just play for fun. And I
Hmm.
don't really have to explain what squash is anymore when someone asks me what I do. So they kind of, the public eye sort of knows again what squash is. Um, and yeah, no, I think what did change as well. I was due because it squash got into the Olympics. I was eligible for a promotion in the Swiss Army, which now
Oh,
is
awesome.
which is pretty big because it's like a part-time job employment, so you don't need to work on the side anymore
Oh, wow.
to
That's
make a
amazing.
living. So
Yeah.
that's pretty big. So for me personally, that's the biggest change for sure. So yeah.
That helps. That helps
Yeah, that
hugely. Yeah.
helps. That helps hugely. Yeah, So because cost of living in Switzerland is just so much higher than, for example, somewhere like Egypt or something. So
Right.
right
Uh,
until I got that promotion, it was almost impossible to do it without working on the side. So
were you
yeah.
coaching on the side, or what were you doing on the
No,
side?
I was working in sales and finance at my parents.
Oh
So
my,
yeah.
that's tough. That's
Not
tough. Well,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad you can go all in now.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
do you think squash in Switzerland is in a good stand right now with the junior program and everything? I know 2028, it is both close and far away in a sense.
Well,
Do you think it's a good place? I know Mueller, I'm sure he'll hate me saying this, but he's more on the later end of his career right now. I don't know if he's still
yeah.
planning on playing the Olympics, but yeah, just curious to
Oh,
ask the
he is
question.
for sure. For sure he is. Yeah, no, he is. And um I personally think he has a good shot of making it.
Hmm.
Um and yeah, no, squash it in Switzerland is the best it's ever been from an elite standpoint. And also the
Hmm.
juniors are getting results. And I think that's due to a very good system that has been implemented 15, 20 years ago. Starting with Nikki, really. Like, he was the first one. Without him, none of us really would have had the inspiration to believe that it's possible to come from Switzerland with no real like
Hmm.
squash history before that to be a professional and make a living as a professional. So yeah, he really
Yeah.
is the chosen one, so to speak. Yeah,
As
we're all just
well,
followers, in his big footsteps.
following his footsteps.
Yeah, exactly.
um, cool. So yeah, I think I'll wrap the interview from here. But I was going to do some fun stuff now. None of the boring interview questions. But do you know the blind rankings? Have you heard of blind rankings?
No.
It's where I'll give you five different names for something, and then you rank them accordingly without knowing what name comes next.
Okay. So you just say a
Yeah,
name and I say 1 to 5. Okay.
yeah, 1 to 5, where you put them in the ranking,
But I
and
can
just
say
to
if
get
I say one, then the next one I can go one again, or I have to put them
no, you
below.
can't. You got to put them
Okay.
below.
Okay.
So
All
you got to
right.
be
Okay.
pretty careful. So
Okay.
I'll give you a little hint on the context. It'll be European players. I'm gonna
European
squash play
players. All time
European
or
squash.
active or all time?
Um,
Okay. Okay. You
Not
just shoot.
active.
Just shoot. Just
Not.
shoot.
I'll just shoot it. All right. We'll start off with your coach, Rosner.
Oh. No, no. He's gonna make me do court sprints with my answer. Um, three. Three.
3. Okay. Gaultier.
Ooh, 2,
2. Nick Matthew.
4. No, 5 actually. 5.
5.
Yeah.
Linku.
4.
All right. Well, James Wolstrup, I guess, is 1.
Has to be 1 then.
If I let you swap one, how would you
Yeah,
swap it?
Greg and James. I
Greg
put
and
Greg in
James.
1. Yeah.
Greg at one. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Cool. And then I'll give you one more blind ranking. These aren't going to be players, but let's start with Harrow Squash.
Well, like just brands. Okay.
Yeah, brands.
One has to be one. They're my sponsor. They're the best ever. So
um, Head Squash. Straight to five.
no, I don't like their rackets. Cool brand, but I don't like their racket.
Dunlop.
3.
Three. Unsquashable.
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, 4. Okay, 4. Yeah.
And then Technofiber is the last one.
2.
Two. Pretty
Best
pretty
strings in
solid,
the
I'd say.
business. Best strings. Yeah.
I'll wrap this up with the quick fire.
Oh, you see, Rosner is just calling me. Probably heard already that I put him at
Zeros,
6.
yeah. Hopefully no court spreads.
Yeah, he's sensing it. He's sensing it. Yeah, that's the 1,000 court
Bad
spreads
juju.
coming up. Yeah.
So the quick fire, I'm gonna shoot these questions. You answer however you want. First question is, who do you think is the best ref on tour?
I mean, they're all
No
good
answer.
in their own way. Yeah, like no, I'm gonna get in trouble. No comment.
Yeah. No comment. No comment. It is.
Yeah.
Best dressed player on tour.
Best dressed. Best dressed. I think Mazen. Mazen has good fashion.
Good style. Good style. How about worst dressed?
There's a lot, but first, can I say all the unsquashable players? Like,
yeah, you call them all out.
I don't like the gear at all. So
they're really decked out.
Yeah, no. But I mean, you can't. No, I can't say no. It's matching, so I can't say that. No. Worst dressed player, and I don't want to. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you have a funny answer, so
yeah. I mean, called out the entire squash. How about any player you'd like to see on the commentators booth?
Any player. I mean, there's a few. Which I think I'm not a big fan of having active players commentate, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I mean they're playing, so it like maybe retired would be more interesting. I'm pretty sure James Wilshere would be great. Greg Gaultier as well. I'm more a fan of like having, or Davide Bianchetti would be also very entertaining to have as a commentator. Just yeah, if you're competing and commentating, I'm like, yeah, like it's a bit of a conflict of interest, in my opinion. I just
fair. Which
you can
totally
have
fair.
them as guest commentators maybe, but not as a commentator, in my opinion. So yeah. Stepping on someone's toes, probably. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion.
Gotta say it. You gotta say how it is. How about best organized tournament of the calendar year?
Grasshopper Cup.
Grasshopper. Gotta pick your own backyard there.
Yeah.
how about the worst one?
But in general, they're pretty good. So the worst.
What is the criteria? What is the criteria of what you look at for a good, like a well organized?
If it's just run smoothly, like if you don't have to think about anything and it just happens like the way it's supposed to happen. Like you don't have to worry about practice courts allocations. You just know. Like it's just everything. Like you only have to worry about your match. If that's matched, like if you don't have to think about organizing yourself or anything, for me personally, that's the best thing. It's like if everything is taken care of, and they really do a great job at Grasshopper. They go above and beyond to meet all the players' needs, and they really do a great job. Not just because it's my home tournament, but they really do a great job. Yeah. So it's my favorite tournament by far.
No, good shout out there. Yeah. How about the worst one?
Yeah, well, I don't. I mean, worst one. I don't know. Like maybe some of the 5Ks. Like I don't know. I remember some of them being pretty I don't remember which ones exactly they were, but some of them were
Mm.
just shockingly organized. But I think probably that's just the nature of it,
5K. Yeah.
So yeah, no, like but in the end, like everyone tries to put on a good tournament.
Yeah.
If they're not capable of doing it, they at least tried. I don't think anyone puts on a tournament just to stitch up players. I really don't think so.
Yeah, that's,
So,
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Uh,
again, like, yeah, calling someone out for doing a bad job, I don't
no,
know.
I'm just out here trying to get you in trouble. So don't mind
Yeah,
me.
no, it's fine. That's fine. Maybe 2 years ago I
uh,
would have named 10 tournaments, but I don't. No, no,
um,
I don't think so.
fair enough. How about coaching post career? Is that something you'd be interested in doing?
Yeah, sure. I would like to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because squash has given me a lot, and I would like to pass on what it taught me. Yeah,
Would you rather have like an academy type or would you rather like focus on like a professional player that you work with like a one-on-one?
probably a bit of both. I
Bit of
would,
both.
yeah, I would like to coach a couple of pro players. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, um, yeah, I mean, an academy would be nice too, for sure. I wouldn't
Yeah. Be
mind
good
having
cash.
that. Yeah, not for the cash. I'm not playing
Yeah, yeah.
squash or doing squash for money. Like it's not my,
That's yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have picked another sport then if we're talking just
Yeah,
for
or
that.
no, just no sport. It's so, like I'm
Yeah.
not money orientated at all. So, um, yeah, yeah, I just as long as I can help someone or yeah, like in an academy, like bring joy to the kids and help them improve and maybe guide them on their way to become adults. That's something I would really like to do. And yeah, with professional players, I like to help them along the way to reach their goals. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, last two. Bear with me here. Most underrated player on tour.
Most underrated player on tour. Mm, good question. Who could I say? I think actually Yusuf Soliman is very
Mm,
underrated. The guy has been knocking on the door of top 10 for like ever, and no one seems to notice it, or in like the broader perspective. Um, he's just always there. So it's
yeah.
yeah, I think he's underrated for sure because I mean,
That
yeah,
yeah.
he's been challenging the top guys, yeah, for at least the last 3 to 4 seasons for sure.
It's pretty cool. I think he's the most mentioned name for that question at this point.
Yeah. No,
Amongst the
but it
players.
is. It is also because his personality is not loud and brash, so
Yeah.
he doesn't really stand out, which he doesn't need to, obviously. But it's just, yeah, he's the one that comes to mind for sure.
Yeah. That's a good answer. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to answer this next one, but most overrated player on tour.
Most overrated. Can I go with like someone who's retired or something like
Yeah, say it. Yeah. I mean, as long as you answer it, I'll let you slide. Retired player, who you got?
Oh, most overrated. I'll go with Nick Matthew. Most
Nick Matthew.
overrated.
Um, is there a player on tour right now that you don't like playing, whether that be like a style clash?
Asal.
That's all.
Yeah.
Just two explosive players on court.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He matches my strengths and yeah, outperforms my strengths, or at least did in the last time we played. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a yeah good experience to have for sure. To like you can see where you're at really. So
Mhm.
but he's definitely the one which I would pick is my least favorite to play out of everyone on tour.
Mm. Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, Dimitri, I'm going to wrap it up there, folks. Thanks for joining. That was awesome. That was really fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate
You know
it,
that.
Sean. Thanks for having me. Thanks.